Welcome back to Pro vs YouTube channel where curiosity meets the code. Today the program that we are going to discuss is to calculate the BMI with the reference charts given. So let's get started. Let me just increase the size so you guys will be able to see it. So firstly we have import tabulate. This tabulates module which is used to display the data in formatted table. Then we have import CSV, we all know, which allows the program to read from and interact with the CSV. Then we have DEF, reference chart. This defines a function named reference chart. The function reads and display a BMI reference chart from the CSV file. Then we have multi-line string that acts as a string for the reference chart function, explaining its purpose and requirements. Then we have list2. This initializes an empty list which will be used to store the rows of the CSV file. Then we have with open bmi.csv as file. This opens the CSV file bmi.csv to read mode. The file is assigned to a variable file1. Then we have list1 is equal to CSV dot reader file1. This uses the CSV reader function to read the contents of file1 and store it in a list1. List2 now holds the iterable object of rows in the CSV file. Then we have for line in list. This begins a loop that iterates through each row which is line in the list. Then we have list2 dot append line. This appends each row line from the CSV file to list2, building a list of list where each sublist represents a row of the CSV file. Then we have print. Here you can take a reference chart. So this prints a message to inform that the user that the BMI reference chart will be displayed next. Then we have print tabulate list2 1 is to headers is equal to list2 of 0. We have a table fmt is equal to fancy grid. This uses the tabulate function to format and print the BMI reference chart. Then we have list 2 is to 1. This skips the first row for the data portion of the table, while the header is equal to list 2 0. This sets the first row as the header. Then we have table fmt is equal to fancy grid. This argument specifies the table visual style. Then we have df calculate BMI height weight. So then we have this defines a function named calculate BMI that calculates the BMI given a person's height and weight. Again, we have multi-line string that acts as a string for the calculate BMI function, explaining its arguments and return value. Then we have try, which begins a try pop to handle a potential errors during the BMI calculations. Then we have BMI is equal to round weight divided by height into 2 comma 2. This calculates the BMI using the formula BMI is equal to weight divided by height square and rounds the results to the 2 decimal places. Then we have return BMI. So here we return the calculated BMI value. Then we have except zero division error. This calculates zero division error which would occur if the height is 0. Then we have return none. This returns none if zero division error occurs, indicating an invalid height input. So next we have df interpret BMI. So this defines a function named interpret BMI that provides a textual interpretation of the BMI value. Then we have again a multilingual string that acts as a string for the interpret BMI function, explaining its argument and return value. We have if BMI is none, it checks if the BMI is none, which indicates an invalid input. We have to return invalid input. Height should be greater than 0. This returns an error message if the BMI is none. Then we have if BMI is less than 18.5, checks if the BMI is less than 18.5. It classifies the person as underweight. Then we have if a BMI is less than 24.9, checks if the BMI is less than 24.9. This classifies the person having a normal weight. Then we have a return function, return your BMI, you have a normal weight. Else if the BMI is less than 29.5, checks if the BMI is less than 29.9. This classifies the person as overweight. return your BMI is so and so, you are overweight. This returns a message of BMI classifying the persons as a overweight. Else, if the BMI is less than 34.9, this checks if it is less than 34.9, this classifies the person as obese, which is class 1. And if it is less than 39.9, this classifies a person as obese. This is class 2. So both the message are printed. Then we have else. This handles the case where the BMI is 40 or higher, classifying the person as obese class 3. Return the same thing. So we return the same values that your BMI is so and so. So you are obese as class 3. Next we have df main. So this calls the reference chart functions to display the BMI reference chart, and we have try. This begins a try block to handle a potential error when taking user input. Then we have height is equal to float input. Enter your height in meters. Prompt the user to input their height in meters and converts the input to a floating point number. Then we have weight is equal to float input, enter your weight in kilograms. This prompts the user to input their weight in kilograms and converts the input to a floating point number. Then we have BMI is equal to calculate BMI height comma weight. This calls the calculate BMI function with the user height and weight as argument and stores the returned BMI value in the BMI variable. Then we have result is equal to interpret BMI, which calls the interpret BMI function with the calculated BMI as an argument and stores the interpretation result in the result variable. Then we have print result. This prints the BMI interpretation result to console. Then we have accept value error. This catches a value error that occurs if the user input is non-numeric value for height and weight. Then we have print invalid input. Please enter numerical values for height and weight. Then we have print an error message if the value error is caught, instructing the user to input numeric values. Then we have if name is equal to main. This checks if the script is being run directly. Then we at last we have main. This calls the main function to execute the programs. Like please just check the output of the program. So as usual, cmd python main.py. So firstly, we here you can take a reference chart. So the ranges have already been printed here. So enter your height in meters. I'm going to enter 1.7 and let me go with 64. So your BMI is 22. You have a normal weight. Then you can run it if required. Thank you so much for watching. If you have learned something from this video, please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.